Hi soulmates, let's make this A-line dress with bell sleeves and neck slits together. To make this dress, I have 1.5 yard of this pattern fabric and the length is by 60. That's why I was able to make use of 1.5 yard, okay? Because this fabric has pattern all over, the lines I made on it was not visible. So I will have to draft again on a pattern paper. And the first thing to do is draw a straight line, which will serve as the shoulder line. And from that line, you measure from your shoulder down to your waistline. Mine is 15.5. Then from your shoulder to how long you want your dress. I want my full length to be 33 inches and that is exactly what I have here. But on my fabric, I added extra 1 inch hem allowance. Go ahead and determine how long you want your dress. Again, this is the waistline and this is the hem line. Next thing to do is to measure your neckline. The width of my neckline is 3.5 and the back neck depth is 1 inch. For the front, the neck depth is 2.5 inches. After that, you mark half of your shoulder measurements. Then you'll add extra half inch joining allowance. Then from that point, you come down by 1 inch to slope the shoulder. And from that shoulder slope, you mark your armhole depth. To get your armhole depth, you simply divide your bust circumference by 6. Then you add 1.5 inches to whatever measurements you get. This line here is the chest line. Now let's create the armhole curve. To do that, you first measure quarter of your bust circumference on the chest line. Then you get the midpoint of the armhole line. And from that midpoint, you go in by half of an inch. Then you connect the points to get your armhole curve. Now this armhole is the front armhole. For the back armhole, we need not go in by half inch. We just connect from this point to the midpoint on the armhole line, like so. Once you are through with that, the next thing to do is to take the round measurements. Here, I already measured my bust circumference. I will just add extra allowance. This dress is meant to be a free dress, so I will add extra 2 inches as ease allowance and 1 inch sewing allowance. That's 3 inches in total. Now, your ease allowance depends on how free you want your dress on your body, okay? So on the waistline, I will measure quarter of my waist circumference, then also add the extra allowance. And at the hem, I will measure 15 inches as the wideness, then connect the 3 points together. At this side of the hem, I will go up by 1 inch. This is not necessary. I just want my dress to have a coffee shape at that side. And this is all for the drafting of this dress. At the shoulder, I will add half inch joining allowance. When cutting, you should cut out the back armhole and the back neckline first before cutting the front armhole and the front neckline. I will go ahead now to cut, and I will also cut on my fabric. Remember I said I drafted on my fabric. Before drafting on my fabric, I folded it into 4 because I wanted to cut the back and the front panel together. If you also drafted on a paper and you want to transfer your pattern to your fabric, what you should do after cutting out the back armhole and the back neckline is to place your fabric on a fold of 2, then you set your pattern on it and cut it out, and that will serve as the back piece. After that, cut out the front armhole and the front neckline and also place your fabric on a fold of 2, cut it out, and that will serve as the front piece. I will separate these two, then use one as the front piece. At the front neckline, I will come down by 4.5 inches. So guys, this is what the front neckline looks like. And this is what the back neckline looks like. The next thing to do is to cut out facing to turn the neckline. To stitch, place the right side of your facing on the right side of your fabric and stitch the neckline with half of an inch. Afterwards, you flip it to the wrong side and also turn in the edge once and run a stitch on it in order to give it a neat finishing. You should also cut out the front facing by tracing out the shoulder, the neckline, and also the slit, and you stitch around the neckline using half inch measurement. After stitching around the neckline, I notch the corners before flipping the facing to the wrong side so it can relax well. I also did the same thing with the back neckline, and this is what I have. The next thing to do is to join the shoulder. So I'll place the front piece on the back piece, right side facing. Then I will open up the facing and turn it backward this way. Then go over to the sewing machine and stitch with half inch measurement. After joining the shoulder, I went ahead to use hemming gum to hold down the facing, and the next thing to do is to close the side, and I will close it using the 1 inch sewing allowance I left for it while cutting. After closing the sides, the next thing to do is to cut out the sleeves. This is the piece for the sleeves and it is already folded into 2 equal parts. I will fold it again into 4 as I'll be cutting the 2 sleeves together, but this time around the fold isn't equal as you can see. Now I'll be drafting the sleeve on my pattern paper and I already folded it the same way I folded my fabric. Now the length I'm working with is 24 inches plus 1 inch stitching allowance making it 25, but I have 24 inches here. On my fabric I measured 25 inches. Now from this starting line I'll come down by 4.5 inches, then draw a slant line back to the fold of the sleeve. Now go ahead and measure the armhole on your dress and mark it here. Mine is 10 inches. Also get the midpoint of that line. Then extend that point a little below the slant line and a little above the slant line. You can extend it 0.5 inch above and below the slant line. Now for the base of my sleeve, I'll measure 10 inches as the wideness. So guys, this is all for the drafting of the sleeve. I'll go ahead to cut it out on my fabric. Now I will go over to the sewing machine to fold in the hem of my sleeve and stitch. I'll give it a double fold and stitch it round. So after stitching the hem, I also close the side, and the next thing to do is to attach it to my dress. And this is what I have after attaching my sleeves. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this tutorial helpful, please like and share and follow for more videos.